You can say hello.
Hey, how you doing? It's Dr. Dave. Waiting
Dr.
for
Abby.
waiting for Dr. Abby. And thank you again for following along and being part of this wild and whimsical journey of vlogdom. Good. So today's vlog or blog, if you're reading, is entitled, Are You Prepared to Do Whatever It Takes? So hello. As usual, thank you for watching and reading along. Some of these blogs might take a little noodle scratching, but they are meant to get you to look at things you've been looking at your whole life. Only now look at them in a new unit of time and from a different point of view or a different viewpoint than your own. A person can learn a lot about life by looking at it from the viewpoint, and that's from the position of another. Good. So the big question is, so, are you prepared to do whatever it takes? And by this I mean, are you willing to do whatever it takes to be a champion?
All right. We'll take it off or take it away from here.
Yep.
So now, before you puff up your chest, do 50 push-ups, drink a protein shake, and grunt, yes, think about it. Do you know what most champions had to do to be a champion? And only a few ever get to actually call themselves champion. They only get that, only a few ever get that true title. We've all seen the world's strongest man competitions, right? Ones where they're lifting the 400-pound boulders, they're lifting the cars, they're carrying the semi trucks down 500 yards or whatever. Yeah. Did you know that those guys lift heavy not only to build muscle, but to actually microfracture the end plates of their vertebra? It's true. We were listening to a seminar in Las Vegas one time, and they showed MRI findings of these strongman's sacrums, or that kind of triangle-shaped bone at the bottom of the spine. And they lift so heavy, not only to build this muscle mass and everything like that, but to actually fracture their bones. And I'll kind of explain here.
And then they deposit that mineral, the mineralization, and it becomes stronger, tougher bones.
Right. So that's right. They're actually microfracturing their bones in their spine so they will thicken with minerals and be able to tolerate lifting 1,000 pounds. You take the average Joe off the street, they might look muscly and everything like that. You load their spine with 1,000 pounds, they will be crushed, right? But you take these strong men who have lifted and have created those, adaptations in their spines, because when the minerals deposit again, it creates essentially a brick, a stronger calcified brick instead of a porous, soft-ish bone, because that bone will then squish under load of 1,000 pounds.
You do think of that. A guy does 1,000-pound deadlift and everything. Why don't his hips snap and the legs shoot up through his body and kill him? And that's what they're basically doing. They're beefing up that bone to be able to handle that. Wow. That's the big question. Are you prepared to do what it's going to take, whatever it takes to be a champion? Would you do that?
I'm not trying to be that type of champion. All right. So that, coupled with weighing over 400 pounds, constantly eating and training, well, it's not for weaklings. Would you be willing to do that and probably spend most of the shortened days of your life in pain to be called champion?
Good question.
Think of all the guys who are juicing and trying to find that edge in some way, any way, to be a champion. Look at the brain damage in ex-football players. Heck, even Evel Knievel broke every bone in his body jumping his motorcycle over things. And what about Muhammad Ali? It all comes at an expense, but then so does too. Oh, I'm sorry, I'll say that again. It all comes at an expense, but then so does it too for those of us who aren't interested in being champions.
Okay.
If you are still interested, then great. I'm not trying to talk you out of it, but I am trying to appeal to the rest of us who are trying to challenge ourselves, perhaps improve our health, or maybe even try to impress ourselves by doing something we didn't think we could do.
Yeah, and that's just it. You get these people and they listen to these ex-sports guys, and they get these trainers who trained the whatever and did this, and a team of naked humans that pulled a 3 million ton sled across the Arctic tundra and everything else, and what they ate and they did. And this is what this guy's doing? Come on. It's just stupid. You're not a champion. You're not going to be a champion. At any rate, go ahead.
But again, if you are not prepared to do whatever it takes to be a champion, then what the heck are you doing?
There we go.
I see patients who are connected to electronics that tell them that their heart rate, their blood pressure, blood sugar levels, and heaven knows what else. But please, you're an accountant.
Yeah, it's like they're hooked up like
they're the average Joe. We're the average Joe.
Yeah, like there's some sort of champion of champions of champions, and they're hooked up to all these electronics. And it's like, come on, man, you're an accountant. Did you get the numbers right? Is there a thing here that it's like, oh yeah, I messed up your tax thing. The IRS is going to put you in prison. No, that's what matters. That's what you need on your watch. Yeah.
Or those who seek out training gurus who measure strength and measure size and everything else under the sun. And you know what? Not one of those people have ever told me that the gurus discovered they were perfect.
Oh, I went to this gym. They checked it. Oh, they've got all these machines and all the rest of the stuff. And oh, la-di-da. And guess what? My left arm is a millimeter weaker than my right arm when there's a full moon. But if the moon is only half, then it's my left knee, which is stronger than my right foot, and it's like, oh my God.
Gives you something else to fixate on. And you kind of go into, so the left side was weaker than the right, or the right side was smaller than the left. And from this, a story is created to explain the many professed deficiencies that were never a problem up until 2 days ago when they were made aware of this, and is now the why for every failed success they've experienced in their life.
Yeah, the weaker knee on a new moon when the sky is black compared to the left ankle. That's why when I was in high school, I didn't realize this. I didn't get to date this cheerleader, and as a result, I had to marry some other person who was not worthy of me, and now I've got a horrible life and everything else. Had I known this, I would have been able to study the stars better, and my knee would have been stronger, and I could have been a football champion. And it's like, enough.
Their new life ambition to get those two sides equal and symmetrical.
That's all they want. Yeah, they come in, and it's like, take a magazine sometime and go stand in the mirror and cover half your face and then look at your other half. You won't recognize yourself. It's like, who's that? Who's that? They're not the same. There is no symmetry.
Yeah. Our bodies are not symmetrical. They're not meant to be.
They're meant to work.
Yeah, they're meant to function. It is really too much. Numbers really don't mean much. After all, they are just numbers until a person is made to make them significant and somehow meaningful.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, well, this is a millimeter. You know how big a millimeter is? And is all the rest of the stuff. And it's just like, no, they're just numbers, and the importance or the significance of those numbers.
Yeah.
That's you. It's just a number. It doesn't do anything. Here's a 3. Oh, my goodness. Well.
Oh, that is something to chew on, though, because a lot of times these numbers, these measurements, these metrics are given so much weight. And there are metrics that do quantify and do matter, but at the end of the day, they're just numbers. They shouldn't be the all-encompassing thought of your headspace.
Yeah. Here's a good number when you start doing this. What percentage of an idiot are you being? Are you in the 80%, the 90%, the 100? Are you really, because of your mushrooms and your ketamine and your fentanyls and all the rest of the stuff and Ozempic, are you now 200% idiot? Are you 300% idiot? Those are numbers that you should probably pay attention to and work those to go down. And I'm saying this nicely because, and I say this being an idiot myself. If you're familiar with my history and how I got to be a chiropractor, it was by doing very stupid powerlifting things and pulled my pelvic girdle apart, hairline fractured my lumbar spine, was having a difficult time walking, probably wasn't supposed to walk, but here I am today. So when it comes to being an idiot, I know all about it. So I feel that because I'm an idiot, I can call everybody else an idiot. So there.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so let's see here. A person who is a person is right at that moment in time, nothing more and nothing less.
Yeah, which you are.
Yeah. When faced with a challenge, one will either figure out a way to overcome it and live to fight another day, or he won't. So why not enjoy life and pursue those things that one enjoys, rather than worrying about the numbers and how many times a person has stepped today, blinked, or sat up, or whatever the latest, greatest metric might be.
Yeah.
There really is much more to this than one might imagine. You know, just living rather than trying not to fall apart and die. Most would give anything to live the life they want. So, are you prepared to do what it takes? Until next time.
That would be something, you know, without getting all hot under the collar. It's like, think about it. What would be your ideal life? What would you like to do? You know, I like that sort of a thing. Are you prepared to do what it would take? Would you be willing to get rid of the house, the car, or some of these other things so that you could be a forest ranger because that's what you always wanted to do, or to go back to school, or something along those particular lines. Those are some numbers that a person should look at when you pursue your bliss. Um, there's a Japanese term called ikigai, and you might as well learn that now because, and that just essentially means that reason why you get up in this morning, not your entire lifetime morning, but things along those lines. The thing that you find helps, this is your purpose, this is your mission, this is your thing that you enjoy doing. Are you prepared to do what it would take to get on those rails and pursue your bliss and pursue your happiness? Now, those are some numbers I personally would be interested in, not, oh, look at this, my left arm is shorter than my right. I guess I need to come up with $10,000 and go to this gym facility where they're going to straighten all that out for me. Actually, they're not.
And you know, it's to say that, you know, I think a lot of times we get lost in the minutia of the, you know, oh, I have to eat this many calories in a day. I have to make sure I get all of these things. And then no one really takes, you know, kind of how my dad said it in this. He goes, a person can learn a lot about life by looking at it from the viewpoint of another, or just even a different vantage point. Take a bird's eye view of your life. Is it working? Are you happy? Are things generally moving in the right direction? If they're not, you might be paying attention to the metrics that don't matter.
Yeah, we have a picture of Austin when he was a little kid with Dr. Diane, and there's a caption over the top of it. And it's something to the effect that life is not.
Here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, geez.
We'll have to rebuild the bookshelf
Yeah.
now.
Here it is.
But that's what it is. Life is not measured by the number of breaths we take, although, oh my goodness, but by the moments that take our breath away. There's a metric for you. Are you prepared to be a champion of being involved in
if you want to see just how large Austin was as a newborn, I hope that's going in the frame. That's an awesome picture.
Yeah, there's a metric for you. How many moments took your breath away?
Yeah.
There's
and always be searching for those moments, because once you start searching for them and realizing them and they start to happen, your brain starts to recognize that pattern, and then it actually looks for the good stuff. Yeah. And then you are not bogged down by all the horse crap.
Yeah, and there was a blog we did earlier. It's like, you know what? So what's wrong now? Probably nothing. Never. You know, but no, nothing's wrong. You're perfect. Yeah. You really are. All right.
We'll end it off on that.
Yep. Take care.
Take care, everyone.
Oh yeah, and say I like this. Or
I hate
subscribe.
This. Dr. Dave's an idiot.
Yeah, Dr. Dave is an idiot.
But yeah, like, subscribe, comment, or just come in, talk to us about this. We really like to, you know, this seems weird talking into a void almost, but you know, if you're liking these things, please let us know. And we always want these to be conversation starters, not only between us, but between you and your people too, because it's a raising of like the kind of general consciousness too, of looking out and finding good. And then all of a sudden you're only seeing good things. And I think our world could use a bit more of that.
Oh yeah. Hooray.
Cool. Cheers. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.